Hey there, Dave. I'm just going to go through a little demo here of what to do with the paints, or otherwise called underglazes. You'll find that they perform almost exactly like tempera paints, only they're a little bit trickier because you have to keep in mind what's going to happen with the chemical changes as it goes through its firing. Here I've already begun the base of what I'm going to add on to it, at least the first part in. I got part of a Velociraptor here and stuff, and you can see some of the parts are a little bit lighter than some of the other parts. This color here, after it's glazed and fired, will actually become like a really dark navy blue. And the thing to remember with underglazes is one coat isn't going to cut it. I do treat them very much like a watercolor, but you'll find that you have to go over certain areas repeatedly. If you don't, the heating process will burn it out. So all you got to do is just take a little bit from like the little container that I have here. You'll need like a palette that's just kind of has kind of like a glazed surface, like a plate or a bowl or a cup or something like that. Anything that has a glazed surface, you can always just kind of rinse it out and wash it later on. No problem. I'll use it at different kind of consistencies. You can see my bowl here that I have some other dried stuff that I've used before. You can actually get that stuff wet and rework it. Again, it's exactly like the tempera stuff. But I have found the fresher stuff that hasn't solidified yet sometimes ends up, or most of the time, a little bit darker. So by tempera, I mean you can actually put a mark on there like this. And you'll find, since it's on bisque, it absorbs the clay, absorbs the water right away. And you'll put it on there. But if you want, you put something on there you don't like, you can always just get a little bit of water, wipe it off, get a rag or something, take it away, and it will, for the most part, take everything away that you have on there. The only problem is every now and then, if you look closely, there's a few little creases in the clay, and some of that blue, a little bit of the residue might be there. Again, I fire these things at a pretty high temperature, so most of the time I'm not even going to worry about that because I usually kind of paint it up over a whole lot. So what I did, a lot of times what I'll do is I'll actually mix a very, very thin, faint wash. And I'll kind of draw on it first, kind of like this. And it's so faint, most of the time this stuff will actually burn right off and barely be noticed. If I keep on building it up with a wash upon wash though, like I did over here, it'll be nice. Like I did over here, it'll be nice and dark. Now, you can draw on this stuff with a pencil, and the graphite burns right out. So you can use whatever method you want. You just got to remember, one coat or one brush, even if it appears to be bold on here, isn't going to be enough. You need to kind of layer up the coats, especially after one coat is dried. If you treat it like watercolors and stuff, you'll find that it'll actually dry pretty quickly. Like right here, that's already dried. So I'll go over that again. A lot of this stuff takes a lot of practice and trial and error. I'm sticking with this blue because I'm very familiar with the results. Some of the underglazes and the firing process get darker, and some will actually get lighter. I like this blue a whole lot because I know what's going to happen with it. It's going to get darker. If you take a look at some of the other things I already have on Instagram, like that first alien one, that one I really dealt with a lot of like just kind of starting off with really, really faint washes and kind of continually kind of built up to the areas where I want it to become really nice and dark and stuff. And a lot of these things I'll just kind of have to go over again and again and again. So it's a good idea to keep kind of track of what you've done. You can right now I'm working on like these really fine details. It doesn't have to be that. You can get a large brush, put a large swash on there, and actually get something like a Q-tip If you'd rather work with like a process of where you're removing rather than adding, that's fine as well. It's always determined by how much underglaze is on there. You want to be careful after you do get everything on there. Don't get it wet, because no matter, this stuff here I could have done a month ago. If I get some water and I wipe it right across there, it's going to take it right off. Now, when it goes to the firing, it becomes one with the clay. The underglaze is basically something that has oxides or stains mixed in with it, with a little bit of clay. So what happens is when it's fired, it actually becomes permanent on there. And the glaze on top of it makes it darker and richer as well. I'm going to make sure I get this in the camera. Sorry about that. Okay, feel free, cover up whatever you want on this. This one, I'm just starting on this. This one, I'm only going to put like this thing here and another character behind him. And this one, have a blast with it. To me, it's like, I think this is going to be a fun thing to do. And I'm kind of excited to see how they're going to end up looking. So if you have any more questions, feel free to contact me and ask. The brushes, I would use brushes of where you haven't used any like oil paint with. Any kind of brush works. Again, when you're done, just wash it out with soap and water. And this bowl here, I can easily just wash right out, put it in the dishwasher, and it'll be fine for use as well. The chemicals on there aren't permanently set into the glaze or anything like that. Make sure the container you're going to get with the underglaze is going to be a little bit larger than this. You have plenty of it. And there you go. If you have any questions or anything like that, feel free to contact me. Good luck, buddy. Talk to you later. Bye.